Good afternoon. Hello and welcome to a fresh new edition of The Big Picture right here on Profit. Over the course of the next 30 minutes, Ramdev Agarwal joins in with his thoughts on what's going on in the marketplace. We'll talk macros and markets. That's the big picture view coming in on the show today. Joint Managing Director at Motilal Oswal Financial Services. Ramdev, thanks very much. Welcome to the show. So let's start with that. Yeah. And I'll get to this diesel business in a bit. What do you make of the market? Post the petrol price increase, I mean, things are looking a little better at the margin, but how would you characterize this?
Market is in classical bear phase where you keep trading in a large range of 45 to 5,500 and it's going on for 2-3 years. So I think there's not enough force still to take into, either side, and neither negative force is big enough to push it below 4,500 and positive forces are not big enough to take it beyond 5,500 at this juncture. So I think it's in classical trading range and kind of more bearish. People are very pessimistic and interest is very, very low, withdrawn. Classical bear market, what we saw in 2002-03, is very difficult to market any product, however good or bad it is. So that's the kind of situation.
That's the situation we are in. Some argue that, and this is not a very short-term view, but slightly longish, one and a half years or so, that what else could go wrong? A lot of prices are so low. Under book in some cases. Investors have lost interest, domestic or foreign. Promoters have lost interest. You're not seeing very many buybacks right now. For companies where essentially they're trading below book value, etc. Right? So what else does one want in terms of a setup?
So one good thing about this time's bear market is that earnings have not broken down. See, corporate earnings are very intact. In fact, Q4 is better than most of the analysts they thought. At least at our end, the analysts, whatever they thought, maybe they became very bearish and they projected depressed earnings, and they're finding that they're seeing more above estimates than below estimates. So I think Q4 has been a very good surprise. So that's a remarkable thing that
Q4 has been a positive surprise.
It has been a positive surprise led by basically SBI, which brought big delta to the entire aggregates. Yes, markets are depressed. So I think the macro news flow has been very bad. Particularly global news flow has been bad. Locally, I think rupee has done maximum damage. I think if rupee had remained a little stable, we would have had a very different markets, because FIs showed their hands in the first half. They brought in $8-9 billion of very aggressive buying, and then the rupee started sliding relentlessly. And I think, you can't fault with them. They've lost 20-25% of their portfolio this year only out of devaluation, because ultimately theirs is a dollar account. So that's really hurting them. And despite that, they have not they've not taken the money out. So that's a big thumbs
Actually,
up.
Some optimists cite that reason as well, that you run 20% of the currency, some on price. So so these guys aren't going to get out in a hurry. So
they have kind of, it's not a very localized Indian phenomenon in the sense that all the emerging markets have their own trouble. South Africa, Brazil. Dollar is very strong. Dollar is really making a comeback. So clearly that's another reason rupee is weak, but we have our own current account troubles in the sense that we import all kinds of energy, coal, oil, gas, everything we want to import. On top of it, we want to import a lot of gold, and our exports are not matching up with that. So there is a problem over there, and I hope with the fall in the commodity prices, fall in the oil prices, some extra production of coal out of Coal India, I think current account deficit should look much better in this next 2-3 months. But that's not a permanent solution. We need to get some kind of a more decisive solution on current account deficit.
For people who say that the worst is behind, it'll take probably a quarter to start seeing delta in terms of improvement, things picking up. Do you agree with that view? That the worst of a lot of variables, all this current account deficit, the rupee...
You don't know, new things keep cropping up. Tomorrow it could be Greece, day after it could be Spain or something else.
Local problems.
Local problems. I think we are passing through worse times. Monsoon is a big one right there. We have a tendency to create mess out of nothing. So, like in Delhi, see now, like oil prices. Already kerosene, LPG, all these things were so low that we had all kinds of problems. Kerosene is being used to mix up with the petrol, diesel and all. So we had problems of under recovery out there. Now we have a huge differential between petrol and diesel price. World over you get to see almost same price for at times even diesel higher than petrol. And here we have a 40-50% kind of a differential.
Between price of petrol and diesel?
Diesel. And it is a very recent phenomenon, more like a year or year and a half. So this is creating a very different, unmanageable kind of distortions, whether it is people are piling on to diesel cars, all the small guys, they drive petrol cars, and more importantly, all the two-wheeler industry is completely petrol. So smallest of the common man is paying the almost double the price of diesel, the fuel for personal transport. And the big guys, they are buying all diesel cars and SUVs. So I think this distortion is going to become even worse if you don't raise the diesel prices. So the problems can come from completely unanticipated kind of sources. We in policy making, those kind of bungling is on, like say telecom. We had one of the best story in the world in the first 7-8 years. Now we are in one of the biggest mess in telecom policy making. So we have the tendency to create mess out of nothing.
Okay. But I mean, broadly you would tend to go with that statement that the worst is behind. Indian macros.
So we are passing to the worst. I mean, and still the corporate earnings are holding out very well. So I would not say the worst itself was bad enough, you know, because Q4 earnings are good, and you are at the peak of the rate cycle. Let's not forget that.
Yeah.
So probably if you have a slightly normal to close to normal monsoon, we are going to see, and I think the biggest trouble today is the volatility and weakness of rupee, both. So once volatility of rupee stops, and then hopefully a little bit of tracking back, so 50 to 53, and stabilizing there. I think that will one bring FI flows. Second, the corporates will be able to do their real final number. What is the knock on the balance sheet and what is the knock on the P&L, and what is the competitive edge on the exports and what is the cost of import. So I think those things will start falling in place, and business will go on to the normal routine. So I think that's another. I hope that gets settled in the next 3 months.
You know, this might seem a little ridiculous now, me asking this right now, because as you said, this is just a bear market bounce, textbook bear market bounce. That's how you call it, right? Yeah. But right now, sitting where we are, do you think about when is the next bull market likely?
Who knows?
And how do I want to be set up for that?
Yeah.
How do I want to be prepared for that?
Yes,
or, I mean, that's out of the question. You don't even think about that, and all you think about is how do I not lose money?
You know, we are running brokerages. We are living as investors in the market to see a next bull market. You know?
Right.
I mean, it's not that only in bull markets you make money. Even the bear market is a good time to make money if you are smart enough. But aided by the bull market, you make much faster and bigger money. You know, so bull market is a thing to look for in the stock market. And what we have seen in last, I mean, I have seen from 85, I have seen 3 bull markets, actually 4, 85, 92, 2000, 2007. So by time series, it should happen sometime in 2015, 16, but
one is not able to visualize it right now.
Yeah, it's very tough to say what will propel it, because politics is not, I mean, see, half the problem in India is about the politics. And politics is not looking to be too great to drive a bull market. So it has to be something to do with the economics. Maybe the global economics. Maybe the oil prices changes completely. Because what is happening is the shale gas, which is driving the energy scene in US, is completely changing the economics of energy in US. And and US being the large user and importer of energy, it's having a cascading effect across the world in terms of coal prices, in terms of oil prices. WTI is coming down, and that is bringing down the Brent. Gas is coming down, so gas is down already, so that is replacing coal in a big way. So coal prices are going down. I mean, these things are fantastic news for India. You know, so in 6 to 8 months, can it have a dramatic impact? Can we have an oil at $80, $85? Can we have coal which is trading at 90 to 95, trading at about $75, $80? I mean, those kind of things can change. A lot of calculations here in terms of current account, price of rupee, strength of Indian economy, inflation rate, and hence interest. So everything can change, and we can still have a bad politics.
So let's talk about politics for a bit, slightly offbeat.
Yeah.
So there is this one argument, or actually, maybe the Congress party is keen on seeing, Manmohan Singh as the president and Pranab Mukherjee as the prime minister.
Okay.
That's one view. I mean, that's, as we understand it, that's one argument or one camp within the ruling party government, party/government. And the other view is it should be the other way around, that Mr. Pranab Mukherjee moves to being the president, and Mr. Manmohan Singh also handles the finance ministry portfolio. What do you think the market will be more excited with? Because we'll see something on the...
I would think that first option looks to be, I mean, if you give me only two options, I mean, there can be many more options and combinations. I would prefer the first one. Because in any case, you have the...
So, Mr. Pranab Mukherjee as the prime minister?
Yeah. I mean, if you give me only two options of...
That is the more...
So then the PM to be PM.
President and Mr. Mukherjee as the prime minister.
Yeah. If you only give me two choices.
But why is that? I mean, but what is the ideal choice then? I mean, I'm not giving you two options. What's the ideal situation in your view?
Ideal situation beyond these two?
Beyond these two.
I mean, you've got to have this... See, we need to have a...
Within the given framework, what would be... I mean, I'm talking...
I don't think much about politics because I take it as given whatever comes there. It's not my subject. I don't know how to cohesively think, but I mean, like what you asked me, I mean, what is the probability of this happening? I don't know. I mean, never heard. I heard straight from you right here.
Yes.
So, the politics is pretty surprising and very exciting. I don't know, I mean, how to think about it. And who are the guys who are possible? Like, people are talking about Narendra Modi to be another president. And could be a person who could be nominated, but then they said he's not a political person and things like that. So, I think if we have persons like of those kind of caliber coming into the office of president, that will, I mean, it will be right kind of honor to him and right kind of person. I mean, I'm not meaning a person like him, but him per se, but a person of his stature, decorating the office of president. And then you have a very capable prime minister in Pranab Mukherjee or who said, I mean, see, you need to change. If things don't work, you need to change. And that's where I think you got to have a new face who can execute things.
Okay. You were recently at the Berkshire Hathaway annual general meeting, much attended, very well attended.
Very well attended, yeah.
And you were a regular there.
Yeah.
What did you take away from that meeting?
Yeah, so it's an annual pilgrimage kind of thing, and there were 40,000 people, a lot of people from India also. And so, this time meeting was very good in the sense that, one of the things which came out is that we have actually meeting started with the fact that somebody asked about buying stocks or something. He said, we never bother about headlines, we buy stocks. We focus on businesses. We focus on the value underlying the business. We never bother about the headlines. And it couldn't be more relevant in India today than ever before. In US, headlines are better than it is in India. So he started buying stocks in sometime in 41, 42. US was losing big time in Second World War. And you can imagine what could have been the headlines. And at that point of time to look at your own savings and go and buy stocks, I think you need very different kind of courage. So he said, I mean, over the period in 70, 75 years of his investing career, he has learned that you must focus on the value and the companies rather than headlines. These headlines can change, but values don't change that much. So you get interesting prices, interesting offers. At this point of time, people find pessimism. I mean, pessimism is one thing which you can generate just by sitting somewhere, I mean, everything is right. Yes, I feel this guy is going to do very badly. Or I don't like this government. Or I don't like this particular way things are being done. But that's your view. And that impacts the, today's view is today's price. So if there is a pessimistic view across about everything in life, you open the newspaper and you feel disgusted about this country. So if everything is wrong, one accident here, one political mess up there, or infighting, or assembly going wild, so you feel whether this country is governed at all. And so that kind of pessimism comes in the valuation. Somebody I spoke to, he says, there is a third fund formation probability has gone up.
Okay.
And because of that, he is taking a view, and a very large accredited investor. So those things have a bearing in the market. So right now, pessimism is coming from all sides. Whether it is rational or not, that's a different thing. But pessimism is all over.
No, so what, I mean, the takeaway from that is that don't focus on issues like the third front coming to the power. Focus
Yeah, I
on
mean,
businesses.
headlines can be pretty depressing, but still focus on the companies, businesses you want to buy.
But Ramdev, from an Indian context, and
Yeah.
this might seem very, you might say, well, businesses are the same everywhere in the world, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, so what applies there applies here. But is that really so? Because the government, we like it or not, plays a large role in determining whether companies make money, how much.
Yeah.
And I mean,
It does at the margin, but there are businesses where government control is say 70, 80, 90%. And there are some businesses where their role is very marginal, in only collecting maybe income tax and sales tax, that's about it. So I think, but there are businesses where, like in telecom, I mean, government can make or break the entire industry. It's a very regulated industry in terms of policy making. So, so that business, or say infrastructure, where award, whether you want to go ahead, whether to pay, how much to pay, what will be your return. So a lot of these things are in power sector. I mean, everybody's put up the plant, but there's no coal because the additional coal which was to produce is just not produced.
Yes.
For the policies taken by government. So I think wherever government has a bigger role to play ongoing basis, I think those industries are affected a lot more in last 12
and they've
months.
suffered.
They have suffered big time. Are suffering still.
Okay. So, I mean, from that, I would assume that you are still, as you once said, you still want to stick with consumer-facing companies and just completely avoid government-facing companies.
Yeah, I mean, that
that
I
remains
always never liked. But now the conviction is proved right. And I mean, if there is some great business which is, kind of monopolistic, duopoly, very large in size, and policy eventually has to fall in place, I think one can still have a little patience and find them at a very reasonable price also. Because right now the sectors which are bitten out, they're bitten down, where there you can get really good value. If by chance you understand the business and economics is good and government can also come around and kind of help that business eventually, I think that's
Those
a
are,
business
but
to
those
buy
are
now.
far and few.
Obviously. It's a matter of research and you will find them, but I just don't like this unpredictability of government actions in those businesses.
Let's talk about SBI, State Bank of India.
Yeah.
You like that?
Yeah, so I think the biggest outlier in this quarterly result is that of SBI. So currently SBI looks to be, one stock in Nifty and Sensex, which is kind of not in line with the current depressed valuation of the Sensex itself. So if Sensex is trading at 13 times, and this one is trading about 6.5, 7 times, it looks to be kind of out of line. So even if markets don't go anywhere, I think SBI has to move up to come in line with the rest of the pack.
No, so you're saying SBI is trading a lot cheaper than the rest of the market.
Sure.
Have you turned more bullish on the company after the results?
Yeah, clearly. I mean, it looks to be absolutely fantastic. I mean, even 3,500 expected profit for the current year was kind of optimistic. Actually, what turned out was 4,000 crores. And then on top of it, the quality of assets which they have declared is slippages are lower than what was expected. And on top of it, their coverage ratio has also gone up from 60 to 69. So, I mean, there's no complaint at all. Dividend has been raised from 30 to 35%. So, after a long time, they raised the dividend. So, I think, and there is still growth potential of 15, 17% in next 2-3 years. Their capital adequacy is there, so they don't have to revisit the market. So, everything looks to be perfect, and valuation about 6-7 times. So, despite
I also
its,
feel that the chairman went out of his way to, in a way, convince the market that the worst is behind us. I mean, it was as if he was directly speaking to the market in that.
Yeah, because I mean, the same management did the crazy thing of last year, writing off everything in one quarter and literally zero profit in Q4 of last year. So, and then the stock broke down. I mean, I think before the result, the stock was, if I remember well, it was 24, 2,500, or maybe I think 27, 2,800. Came down to 2,400, and eventually saw a low of 1,600, 1,700 on the back of that kind of accounting and cleanup, so-called. So I think the whole thing has come around full 360 degree, and now we are into 4-5 quarters or maybe 8-10 quarters of very good results.
What should SBI trade at, according to you?
It's tough. I mean, in the last 4 years, we have seen 2,500, then 800, then 3,600, and then 1,600. So, I mean, what I have seen is that in markets, we learn a lot in short run, but in the long run, we don't learn anything. So, I think we are going to go back to again SBI becoming popular, or maybe it will cross a new high. I mean, at 3,500 the earnings were 1/3 lower or maybe half. Today you have double the earnings and half the valuation. So, I mean, at least 3,500 looks to be very imminent to me in next. It will take time. It is not going to. It's a very large stock.
Yeah.
Everybody is sold out. FIs have sold out. Everybody is sold out. So I think all the old investor base has to come back, and that's what the effort of SBI management would be, to get back the investors. And I think even if it takes a little time, maybe see, we don't know time-wise when all this will happen. But I think the recovery of the market is led by, actually the markets are falling. It was pretty weak. From the day result has come,
yes.
it is not only going up, but it is also, giving a lot of support to the market. So I think this time it will be led by SBI.
Does that also, influence you about what other PSU banks will report? You said, SBI is now in a cycle of better earnings, better and better earnings. So the next couple of quarters.
It should be, because the stressful assets, if SBI is seeing kind of a peak out of the provisioning and further slippages, clearly it should be the same message for the rest of the, because everybody's book is the same kind of a loan book, SME and those kind of things. They're not particularly retail books, which is like HDFC Bank, which is clearly retail dominated books, which is very different from the rest of the pack. So I would think that little less or more, but all the banks should be more or less in the same basket.
Got that. Ramdev, thanks very much for dropping by. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Ramdev Agarwal at Motilal Oswal Financial Services on a range of issues there.